talking, and he said, "I live as a capitalist every day," and people were sharing that, saying that he was racist, and saying that he was calling an Asian. The person he was arguing with his name is Chank, and so he was calling him by his name. He's a political activist, a commentator on the left, and he was arguing with him, and he called him Chank. With a lot of fans, a lot of followers, a lot of people knew him. So of course there's going to be a giant outcry for his death because he impacted those people. Whether we like that or not, he did. And they liked him. They loved him. And so just like let them mourn. Like,
it doesn't make me think a racist thought like you're not qualified.
No, yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, of course.
Psycho.
So you think that is inherent? Like you're saying, just having that idea, that thought is straight up
Just
racist.
the thought, that's a racist thought.
We're back. Episode 3 after 7 years. Sorry for the break, but we're back. And today, why are you laughing at me?
Because we keep coming back.
I know, we'll keep coming back. We're not going to not come back. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so today is not going to be that fun, I don't think. It could be. No, it probably won't be. It's probably going to be a little serious. This is really throwing me off hearing myself right now. But as you all know, a political activist, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated 5 days ago. How long has it been? 4 days? Tuesday? When was it?
Like 5.
Wednesday. So, we're just gonna get right into it. This might be a 2-part episode because some weird things are happening with the after effects of his assassination.
Some developments.
Some weird developments after. So we might get into that. I don't know if we'll have time to get into that. But if we run out of time, there's definitely gonna be part 2, and we're gonna talk about that because there's some weird things with Israel and Charlie Kirk, and it's very fishy. But yeah, so I guess I was kind of talking to Chris about it before we started. Just I don't know how you guys actually feel about Charlie Kirk. How much do you know about Charlie Kirk? Like how much have you heard or absorbed of his like content, of his words?
Not much.
Not much.
Nope.
And when you do hear it, it's just like, like,
It's like other people's opinion of him, basically.
oh really?
Yeah.
You don't usually see him.
I don't usually like listen to his content or anything. Not
Yeah.
that I actively avoid it. I just like it doesn't come to me because I don't really fall into his circle where I
Right.
get his algorithm or whatever. So
Yeah.
just
So, I guess have you been on social media? Have you been on social media like since this happened?
a little bit,
Have you been seeing?
but I've tried to avoid a lot of it because it has been very like everything is either very extremist or very negative. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, this guy just died, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So I guess what I kind of wanted to do was I have a bunch of clips. These aren't the bad clips, so I'm gonna say this up front is that, like I kind of what I told you guys in the beginning was I wanted to be more like fair, more open, not
So bias.
not biased, and I don't want to add to I don't want to just fucking start pouring gasoline on this fire and doesn't matter the side, but I will say up front I was not a fan of Charlie Kirk. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of what MAGA wants. But I don't like the celebration of his death.
Yeah, we definitely don't condone that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At all. I don't see a situation aside from, like a fucking war criminal dying, like a celebration. I don't know. I think life is very precious,
Yeah.
and to celebrate somebody dying and justifying it because of the things he said. And I guess the way he's voted, and you think it's okay that he died because of that, I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like when people who maybe you don't disagree with, or even people you agree with, start getting killed for freedom of speech, it's scary. Because even if you disagree with them, think about it if you're on the other side of it.
Yes.
Now you say something and you just, you're getting taken out. And what if one day it flips? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It could, because it can. Public perception switches so quickly that it like, you could be on the other end of that, and then it's like, wait, I've been saying this for years, and it's like, yeah, you have been, and then someone takes you out, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with him.
And I think that the celebration, if you're on the left, and because obviously only left are celebrating, the people on the left are celebrating. If there's another crazy leftist out there, another crazy guy on the left, and he sees that and he sees how happy his people are because of this,
Right.
how do you know he's not going to see that and be like, oh yeah, this is what I should do. I'm going to help my people. I'm going to go kill the next guy, the next girl, who's the opposite. Or even on the other end, if you're on the right and now you're fueled with anger now because of all this celebration.
Go for revenge.
Yeah, go for revenge. Yeah. And like, you guys want to start this cycle of assassination or violence. And I know that there's been other instances of violences, but this is what's happened recently, and that's what we're talking about it. Because when you bring this up, I'm seeing like on social media. So it's going to sound like I'm arguing with you guys, but I feel like my head is I'm going to be arguing with a lot of people on social media.
Yeah, it's like devil's advocate a little bit.
I feel like it's just, you should not, it's just not okay. It's not. And I don't see a lot of people, like personally, that I follow or that follow me celebrating it. I've seen a couple, but there's a lot that people that don't follow you just see like everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And, but what I wanted to get to was, I kind of wanted to do this in order, is a lot of his viewpoints, a lot of his like clips, his negative clips, like his hot takes,
Okay.
have been circulating a lot, and a lot of them sound crazy, and a lot of them are giving him the label of racist, you know, misogynist, xenophobic, every fucking word you can think of, right? And I think like a lot of them aren't very fair. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I might have to cut that actually. What I mean is a lot of them, and a lot of them were cut specifically so it just sounded
To paint
racist.
him in a bad light.
Right.
Right.
To paint him in a bad light. And but yeah, I personally, I am not like I voted left past elections, you know, and I pretty much agree with everything on the left. I agree with some things on the right.
Right.
But I've done like enough. How do I do? Okay, let me just give a little backstory here. I didn't get into politics until later, right? Until later in my life. So I did not come in with this like preconceived idea of each side and like how bad they were, how evil they were, and
Are your parents like political? Like, is your
no,
mom?
no,
Okay, that's
my
probably a big part
family
of
was
it.
not political.
That's
at
a big
all.
part of it. Yeah.
And I think that actually that's funny that you said that, because I was going to ask that before and I just forgot. You just reminded me. But yeah, so my family was not political. I mean, probably because, you know, they had other shit to worry about, like surviving, and nobody wants to pay attention to fucking politics when you're trying to pay the bills and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I came in with a blank slate, and COVID is kind of what started it. You know, I worked with people who would talk a lot about things on the right, so they were against everybody on the left. They would say all these things about things on the left, say all these negative things, say all these like things that sounded crazy to me, and I'm like, the fuck? They said that? They believe that? And then I go look it up, and I'm like, oh, that's not what they said. That's not what they believed. And then, you know, I'll go on social media, or I'll come around the people in real life who are on the left, and they'll say something crazy about the right. This person believes this person said that. And then I went, and I'm like, oh, that's not what they said. So that kind of took me on like I'm constantly listening to both. And now that I kind of know that I don't necessarily, the reason I know that I don't agree with the right on a lot is not because I think they're bad or I think they're evil or they're hateful. It's because I've listened to them like
Just talk.
extensively.
Right.
And I know after hearing everything, I'm like, okay, no, that's not the way. That's not where I want it to go. That's not, because when you think about both sides, right? it's they're both have a vision. They both have a vision of where they want the country to go, right?
Right.
They're both trying to steer it a certain direction.
Yep.
And their job is to recruit people to put them in power to take it that direction, you know? So I wanted to listen to see, really understand. And so I think that's why when I hear these things about these people and how they're evil and they're hateful and I'm sure it's true. Something's beeping.
Yeah, my
Oh.
watch keeps going off.
I'm sure. Well, the thing is, I'm sure it's true to an extent. Like obviously, hateful people are going to be on both sides.
Right.
There's going to be hateful percentage on the right for sure, but I don't think painting them all that way is accurate. So for you guys, how did you like growing up? How did like the political thing go for you and your parents?
Same. My parents weren't political at all. I think it was the last time Trump got elected. That's when I started paying attention. Mainly because of, same things going on today, the ICE raids and all that stuff, because that affects me directly. My girl's from Mexico, and I have family from Mexico. I have friends that are part of these programs that are being threatened every day, and they're afraid to come out of their fucking house right now. It's real. It's sad, and that's what made me pay attention in the first place. Yeah.
For me, I think it's more of like a rebelling because my parents are definitely more conservative. Like my dad was the probably typical Fox News. He was, well off, pretty well educated, and he was kind of sucked into the social, like the media and all that of Fox, and still has that to today. Even when I talk to him, he still has that conservative view, and like I can sway him and talk to him about certain issues, and we'll come to like a middle ground about certain things. But there are certain things where it's like there's not a lot of give, especially because he also is like very religious, so it's like
That's a big part of it.
Right, yeah, like abortions, like that, there's no way we're arguing that. Like, we're not even talking about that because there's no reason. We're very divided on our stance. So there's no, you know what I mean? It's mostly like, are you going to be arguing like number of weeks and months? Like, that's just too much interpretation as far as it goes. Like, I feel like it's an issue where you're either on one side or the other. But anyway, that's kind of where I was. And as I explored that and saw where my parents like came from and the views, like you said, like where they wanted to steer the country, I didn't like that. I didn't like it's like more like it's all for me. It's very individual. It's we all get our thing. Everyone gets their own, you know what I mean? Versus that the other side felt more like let's all work together and maybe pool more of our resource together to achieve a certain goal, whether it's space or getting programs or stuff like that.
Right.
Instead of cutting those so everyone can just have more money in their pockets. It's like, I know I want to pay into this system. I want this to kind of work for me. That's why I'm part of the society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started leaning more towards that. And then as I've gotten older to this point, I started leaning more that way. But I started to realize and started to lean actually a little bit more to the other side and started maybe seeing where my parents came from in some situations where you are like, well, maybe they shouldn't have their hand in that cookie jar, or maybe the government shouldn't, should be more lenient on this or stuff like that. So I think there's a balance. I think just like everything really in life, it feels like right now, the government is very extreme. Like we can't come to a consensus on some things. It always feels like one side is being like, all right, we'll give you these bargaining chips. And the other side, we'll put these together. And then here's the fucking conglomerate of a law. And then we both got half of what we wanted. And that's how we get it through. Instead of being like, let's agree on a common goal. Let's all agree to like implement clean energy or implement weapons or whatever they want to do on their side, right? And then work together towards these goals. It's like, no, we'll kind of half-ass both of them. And that's kind of why it feels like things don't really get done.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or making cuts in places. Yeah. We're making cuts in places that we don't want. And so are they, just to compromise so we can kind of each get half of the pie, It kind of sucks.
Yeah. So then I think that for you probably helped you not see these people as like evil and fucking hateful people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's just people in my personal life just, think that everybody on the right is evil and hateful and they want to just, I mean, the left says. I mean, the right says the same thing about the left as well.
Right.
You know, so I'm not gonna say that one side is more dramatic. They're both pretty fucking dramatic sometimes.
Right.
But okay, so that gives me a good standing point that you guys are not like. I just wanted to see if you guys were like on this train of Charlie Kirk is this fucking.
No, more moderate in a way in that sense, where I can kind of see a little more on that side, but definitely leaning more towards, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with Trump or Charlie Kirk's ideas, but I don't think that people should be killed for their ideas, and they definitely should be able to have their opinions and express it, because they have a lot of points that, like I said, I agree with that they have. It's just some that we don't, and same with us, right?
Yeah. So
That's how it is.
what I want to do is I want to get into, because I know you haven't paid attention to social media, but there's a lot of clips circulating of him, like I said, saying crazy stuff. And so I want to be fair on this podcast. And if I'm sharing, I'm going to share these clips that are going to be kind of the opposite of what people are saying about him.
Okay.
That are kind of like paint a little bit of a different picture. And I want to preface this again with saying I'm not doing this to defend him as in like you guys need to come join Charlie Kirk or join the conservative movement. I can't stand. I wouldn't even say I can't stand. The overall consensus for the people who are celebrating his death is he's a shit person, terrible person. He deserves to die for his views. Some people are celebrating it, and some people are just like going on this thing, this social media run of posting how terrible he was
Oh, I see.
after he's dead. They're not even celebrating it. They're just like, they just want to shit on anybody who's sad about him dying, right? So I'm going to play some clips, and the clips, there's some of the things like that has to do with gay people or trans people or the things that they think that he's racist. And so we will start. There's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with, I think this is a gay one. So,
We probably want to restart that, but yeah.
yeah. Hopefully this is too loud. Let's see.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to kind of ask you, like, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attraction.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
thank you. I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to kind of...
That sound like you hate him?
No. I mean, has he said anything about marriage? Gay marriage?
Gay marriage?
Yeah.
He said he didn't agree with the lifestyle.
He doesn't agree with it on a religious level. He doesn't agree with it like, you're saying like if he thinks that it should be not allowed legally?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good question. We should find that.
He did in that clip, but I bet you if he asked, he probably would say no. Like, you can be gay, but we don't want you. Like, he'd probably say marriage is for Catholics who are straight.
Yeah, from what
That'd go back to religion too.
from what I've heard from a lot of the people on their side is the same thing. They separate it. They don't agree with it. They don't think it should happen, but they don't want the government involved in it.
Right.
That's from what I've heard from the most side on the right. Obviously, there's going to be people that are completely, government shouldn't give them anything, There's hateful people like that. Where's the other gay one?
It's weird that the government controls that anyway. Why does the
Yeah.
government control
Why they even involved?
the religion? It's like, if the religion says you can get married, then cool. If they don't, then like, why are you a part of that religion?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems weird, but it is what it is.
Here's another one. Just talking to another gay person.
Sorry.
You could be told a lot of different. Is that Erica again?
It is Erica again. Hi, Charlie. So since meeting you,
We made friends earlier.
I wanna
She
lower
was
it a little bit.
homeless a year ago, and now she's thriving. How great is that? Isn't it?
Since meeting you a few short hours ago, I've already had numerous people remove me on Instagram and tell me they can no longer be my friends because I'm here at a free event learning both sides of the spectrum. Anyway, oh, and I also forgot to tell you my pronouns. I
just want to stop right there. That's what we should be doing. She just said she's gay and she's coming to a conservative thing to learn both sides of the spectrum. I totally agree with that move.
Identify as Joe Biden. Live and let live. Everybody can live however they want. They can do whatever they want. And my question for you is, do you have any hate? And is Turning Point USA against the LGBT community? Because I'm being told that by coming here and listening to you speak that I'm either a racist or a fascist or against the LGBT. And isn't fascism when someone doesn't agree with your beliefs and your views and they want it either your way or the highway?
Yeah, the people that defriended you on Instagram, they're the fascists. So I do not have hate for a group. I do not have hate for a people. I have
So
hate
just so I can get it on my camera. So
don't worry, we got plenty of cameras, but yeah.
But yes, so you do not hate the LGBT community,
Well, no,
and Turning Point is not against LGBT.
No, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not.
Yes, I was told that Turning Point USA is against LGBTQ.
Well, you could be told a lot of different things.
I know, it's all
people.
both.
I rest my case. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Charlie.
Does that sound hateful?
No.
Again, just to intervene. This is the problem too. I'll talk about this just before we play this next one. I see a lot of like even me when I was thinking about doing this podcast and talking about this, I personally was kind of afraid to like even to seem like I'm defending him, because a lot of the people on the left are so. It's like if you're even remotely gonna defend the other side, you're one of them.
Right.
And I'm just gonna say I am not one of them. But this is come on, guys.
They're turning into the same, like both sides are turning a blind eye to each other. That's the problem. Is like that's what I was saying. Like we can't agree on anything. 'Cause it's like they don't want to listen to any of our ideas, and they're going like, "That's stupid. We shouldn't do any of that." And then they're going like, "Oh, you're conservative. Yeah, go over there. You're over there.
Yeah,
right? Either you're all in here or you're not in the club at all." And they're over there just like basically ignoring the left or saying like,
yeah,
screw them. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and
it's tough when the leader of the country is the one that's basically
the head
fueling
of
the fire.
Right.
He's
For
the
one
one
of the-
that's saying, yeah, it's them. They're the evil ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, bro, you're the leader in chief. You're the one that should be calming people down and being like, yo, this shouldn't happen. This whatever.
Yeah.
But you're going the extreme route, and now you're creating more of a division.
Yeah.
And making people not want to listen to the other side, not even have a conversation anymore. Like,
yeah, he's
it's
definitely
just,
doing the wrong.
Fuck you.
He has. Yeah, you're right. We will talk about that after. We're gonna get to these, and then we'll talk about that after. Because the Trump. Trump's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but he's not a symptom, right? He's the effect of that. He's because we were so divided that side felt like they needed to elect that kind of leader that would represent all of their ideas 100% all in the club, not some guy who's gonna cooperate with the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, go ahead and play
One more. This one's a little bit longer, but this one is a good one, especially towards the end.
Make sure it's not too loud because some of these.
Kirk, thanks for coming out tonight. I got a question for you real quick. Up until about 5 years ago when gay marriage was legalized nationwide, the conservative movement has been explicitly pro-traditional family.
It's fine. It's fine.
Now, both you and your organization advocate for the acceptance of anti-Christian, immoral lifestyles like homosexuality and transsexuality, going as far to invite drag queens like Lady MAGA to your events. It seems to me and anyone who's paying attention that conservatives just believe whatever liberals believed 5 years ago. Right now, there's a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and... Oh, excuse me. Don't shut off.
Go back to your notes. That's probably where you saved it. You got to like push double tap and then go over.
Right now, there is a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and rebranding pedophiles as minor attracted persons. 5 years from now, will you be promoting child drag queen shows? Will child abuse become part of the conservative platform?
Boy, that's a slippery slope fallacy if I've ever seen one. First of all, I've never invited a drag queen to come to any Turning Point USA event. I was at Politicon, and an individual by the name of Lady Maga came up, and I took a picture, and she walked away. Secondly, let me ask you a question. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
So are you a proud Trump supporter?
Of course.
So are you sickened that he had a gay man speak at his convention?
Yes.
Then you're not a Trump supporter, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me ask you another question.
That part's kind of funny though, because like if if Trump said it, you got to believe it. You got to be on his side. That's funny right there.
Another question. Should he return the money of Peter Thiel, an openly gay man who supports his campaign?
No, if it helps him strategically,
okay.
Sure, he can.
Should he stop talking to Tammy Bruce, who's an open lesbian that's a Fox News contributor?
If it's affecting his ideas, then probably, yeah.
Okay, so you say you're a Trump supporter, yet you have all these issues and these disagreements with him. Let me be very clear about my position. My personal position. I'm a Christian first and foremost, then an American, then a constitutionalist, then a conservative, in that order. I believe marriage, biblically, if we want to have a biblical and theological discussion, as articulated in the greatest book ever to exist in the history of the world, the Holy Bible. Marriage in the Holy Bible is one man, one woman. I also do not believe in the sort of rhetoric that some people engage in, that all of a sudden that they say there's no place for gay people in the conservative movement. I do not believe that. And let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question then?
Sure, go for it.
So, the American family, liberty, freedom, the Constitution, our history, veterans, that's what we're conserving.
And see right there how like it was one of the people in the crowd. Who do you conserve? Like they're obviously against what he's saying right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's people obviously out there like that. Like gay people shouldn't be a part of the conservative movement. You know, there's definitely people that are like that.
Yeah.
But he's obviously not agreeing with them, and you're gonna hear it right now.
I'll get to you later, though. Don't worry. So let me ask you a question. What if you had your way? What would you do with gay people in America?
What would I do with them? I wouldn't.
Yeah, because they're not allowed in the conservative movement. So would you just kick them out anytime they show up at a Republican Party? If you were in charge, like what would you say? You can't be part of the Republican Party.
If somebody is advocating for being openly homosexual, yeah, they should not be part of the conservative movement.
So I just want to go through the list. Guy Benson, no place in the conservative movement. Dave Rubin, no place in the conservative movement. Peter Thiel, no place in the conservative movement. So that just to go down the list.
If they're supporting open homosexuality.
So I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd? And
it is against God. That is.
So let me ask
Are
you a question.
Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy? Yes or no? No. Do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian.
I am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
So
he had dinner with prostitutes.
So that, like, you know, it's hard. Like, it's funny because I know, like I said, I'm gonna argue with people on social media because you guys maybe aren't saying this, but I know people are gonna hear that and be like, "We just saying that," you know, like, and they're gonna, you know, say that, well, his supporters don't support it, but I mean, it's literally coming from his mouth right now.
Yeah,
he's not saying I hate gay people, you know, he's not like. Because one of the things is he hates gay people.
Right.
I don't know. Based off those three things, does it sound like he hates gay people?
No.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
And I think that I haven't really, I heard a lot of things that people were saying he's homophobic, and I haven't even found like an actual clip that was like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Like I haven't seen anything where it was like, oh shit, man, he's talking about gay people that way, like because obviously we're all in support. We don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He went on some little podcast and let one slip.
I haven't heard anything. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. This one is, and here's another thing about the trans. This is the trans thing. These are two. He's talking to two transgender people. I think with the trans thing, from I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't see people making fun of trans people all the time on social media. And obviously they're gonna be on the right if they're making fun of them. They're not gonna be on the left making fun of them. But when you actually listen to why they're concerned about the trans thing, is they are concerned about the kids. They're concerned, and I know the other argument is, well, if you're concerned about the kids, why don't you control guns? The kids are dying. Yes, I get that too. And I don't mean to like mock you guys and make fun of you because, like I said, we're all on the same side here. But their concern is, for the most part, for the more reasonable Republicans, their concern is the kids and people giving their kids the, transitioning them at young ages.
I'm against that too.
Yeah,
I'm so against that.
Well, that's what Republicans are.
Yeah, some of them hit 18 and they're like, "What the fuck did I do?"
Yeah,
like, do you let me do this?
Yeah, and that's at the foundation of why they are anti-trans, I guess you would say. Not all of them.
So yeah,
a lot of them. Not all of them, because there is a lot of hateful people out there. They're sick in the head and they're fucking, But like, so what's her name? There was a lady, I just read her book last year. Damn, I'm having a blank. She just wrote a book. She was a Democrat and she became a Republican.
So I think I know where you're going with this, about like the heart of the root of their issue isn't with them being trans, is with the kids, right? But to play devil's advocate to that, do you think that sometimes with these ideas, and not with all of them, and I'm not painting Charlie Kirk in this circle, but do you feel like sometimes for these ideas, they try to redirect the attention to something else in order to still get their agenda through, but not come off as like, this is really what we want to do? So like,
they're trying to find the like a solid pain point
that they can still seem like family conservative Christians, but fuck all these trans people. Like really, like if they could be open and as honest as they wanted, they would go, yeah, we don't like what you're doing. Dudes shouldn't do that. Girls shouldn't do that. Whatever. Yeah. And then, but instead they're going, well, we can't say that because then obviously they'll get, burned at the stake, cancel culture, and then they're out of here. So instead they go, well, what about the kids? And they go, what about the kids? Well, you're influenced my kid. And they'll go, yeah, you can't influence our kids. And they get all the families involved. And now it's a family issue. It's a religious issue. And they've tied it into the core of everybody else. So not saying that's the case that they're doing this, because I don't really have any like evidence. But I remember when this first came up and they started using that as like their excuse. They've been running with that same thing for years and they've never had any other reason besides the kids.
Yeah.
So it made me feel like they all started saying it and then they were like, oh, this is kind of working. And they've just used that as their only pain point and just kind of never let go of the pressure from there.
Yeah.
And whenever you ask them about anything else, they're like, yeah, but what about my kid? And it's like, well, take that out of the equation. What do you think about it without the kid? And they're like, yeah, but it starts when they're a kid, and it seems to always go back to that.
So I have heard, I know, and yeah.
Just to play devil's advocate.
I agree. Yeah. They're always going to find, and Charlie has done it too. Like, like I told you, I got his book and I was reading his book and I got to a point where I was like, bro, you're just fucking finding a statistic to prove your point that doesn't even make any fucking sense. They obviously do that.
Right.
But I have heard a lot of them say that, once you turn 18, they don't care what you do. But I guess I forgot about this part too. It's also the kids, but it's also the sports, the men's and women's sports, and the bathrooms. So there's more.
There is. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. But still, these next ones are just him talking to two trans people, and if you're listening, tell me if he sounds hateful.
To irreversibly damage themselves.
Let's say a bunch of kids are getting gender affirmative.
Thousands of kids every month.
Let's say that is a decision between the child, the parent, and the doctor. That has nothing to do with.
Should kids be able to get tattoos?
Sure.
No.
Oh, okay. Should kids be able to own AR-15s?
No.
Why?
Because that is harmful. It can be.
So AR-15s are harmful, but cutting off your breasts or potentially castrating yourself, gender-affirming care.
I mean, given that you're under anesthesia.
Puberty is not the problem. Puberty is the solution to the trans issue, where that almost every young lady or young man will have some sort of anxiety of how they feel at age 12, 13, 14, 15. Maybe instead of telling them that they might be somebody in another body, we should allow them to continue to grow and develop into the body that God made them in, and say that puberty will actually solve the problem. Do you think kids should not be able to irreversibly?
So that one, it just sounds like he's just saying, just wait, like
Right.
let him figure it out.
That's kind of where I stand on it, dude. It's like when you see parents like pushing this on the kids that are like 8 years old, like he plays with dolls and he like,
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, how do you just make them go through that transition right away? Just at that age, it's crazy. Let them do it on their own. Like even if they're 15, 16. That's their own choice at that point. Like,
right.
Dude, you're 8 years old. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think, where I stand on this is like, yeah, the kids think is a problem, but if you want to be trans, if you want to transition,
do whatever you want to do. But
is America free or not?
Yeah, but it's the parents that are taking them to the doctor to go do these things, and I'm like,
I've even seen clips where people were saying their babies were. What the fuck? Yeah. This one, I like this one because this one is. This clip, I don't see. This is like him speaking to somebody like with compassion.
Male. What age should kids be able to get the thing? I just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that since like 3rd grade. And I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know like with the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not, what's helpful, because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. Mm-hmm. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Mm-hmm. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Yeah.
I know that you might not feel that way, but I think that is something that you can achieve. I think that with the right team and the right people, you don't have to wage war on your body. You can learn to love your body.
I just want to say
Seems pretty like he's being like, reasonable with her, not being one of the people on the right that would say, no, you have a fucking mental illness. You need to go into a mental asylum. Yeah. He's not being
extreme on it. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't got to. Did we? I didn't mention. We talked about it before. The reason I'm doing this, guys, is there was a lot of clips. Like, there was a few clips, but some of them, there was one where he was like yelling, and he said, "I live as a capitalist every day," and people were sharing that, saying that he was racist, and saying that he was calling an Asian. Should I bleep that? I don't know if I should say that or not. Well, anyways, the person he was arguing with his name is Chank, and so he was calling him by his name. He's a political activist, a commentator on the left, and he was arguing with him, and he called him Chank. And so this was like part of one of those montages, and the montages of painting him as this evil, terrible person that, deserved what he got, and so that's those montages, it's what kind of motivated me to do this. And if you think that me trying to shed light on the good parts of another human that's on the opposite side of me, you don't like that, then just don't listen, I guess. I would like you to listen. I would like everybody to listen to both sides. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to think of what we should do. This one's about affirmative action, civil rights. This one is civil rights. This is the one where it's kind of, I guess we can get to one of the bad ones. I guess we can do that. This is one where this one's kind of, this one sounds very bad. It sounds bad.
It sounds bad.
If Sheila Jackson Lee
Well, I
and
guess
Ketanji
we'll talk
Brown
about it.
Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies. That turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through our policy.
So that one, people, they were taking it, because he's not a fan, you know, he's against affirmative action or whatever. And they were taking, there's a, you know, in there he said, we get it. He's like, we know you don't have the brain processing power. And so that one they were taking, and people were even posting the quote, black women don't have the processing power of a white man or something like that. They quoted it like that. That's not what he said. It was insulting what he said, obviously. But what do you guys think hearing that?
Why do you gotta say that? Like, what? Why? There's so many white people that are underqualified and whatever. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, why?
Well, it's people that he doesn't share the same, you know, view with, though. And do you think, I mean,
that's not a view though. That's her story.
But the people that he's insulting, do we not call people on the other end dumb? You know,
yeah,
you're stupid.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I don't know.
I mean,
does that seem racist?
I mean, it might be because of the topic.
Mm-hmm.
It might be because of the topic, and it might be, even if it's not racist, it seems a little misogynistic too, just in general.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, do you think affirmative action is racist? Do you think it's, because it is a weird topic, because it's like, hey, we're gonna hire whoever's eligible, but we're gonna save a few slots for certain genders and or races, or people of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's great. That helps them, but like, do they need the help? Why do they need that? Are you saying that they can't do it on their own?
Yeah, right.
And like, I get the idea back in fucking whenever that shit was started, you know, because they were trying to help people get like acclimate to society and in after they were segregated for years, right? So that helped them be able to get into places where they would be like, nah, we're not going to let you in because they see you at the interview. They're like, hey, you have to let a few of them in. And then over time, it becomes more and more and more acceptable, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, that doesn't even seem like a thing. Like, I guess it is still a thing. But like I said, it's not why call it out like that? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like just something to almost rile up your base and rile up the people who are the most extreme. And that's not really a good look.
Yeah.
Not really a good view.
Yeah.
But from that clip, can you say he's racist? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what comes to my mind is like, I mean, this is only, I don't know what the whole podcast was about, you know?
Right.
But yes, he was talking about 4 women or 3 women that were black, whatever.
Right.
But is if they're the opposite of what he believes in, or if they're his political enemy and he calls them dumb and they happen to be black, that becomes racist. You know?
Maybe because he named 3 black women.
Do you have the full clip of him talking about pilots?
Yeah, I think that was up there.
It's somewhere there. Yeah.
No, was that taken out of context?
You know what? The DI, that one was really hard to find because the problem with his is like he has full.
It's flooded right now.
He has well on YouTube anyways. Yeah. But it's flooded with that clip.
Mm-hmm.
To find that, I have to go through his episodes, like a full episode, and go through it.
Yeah.
So we can't talk about that because I have seen the somewhat longer clip. I have seen it. Because in that one, you literally just hear, if I see a black pilot.
I listened to like a 2-minute clip of it, and then the other guys chiming in, and they're all like laughing and going back and forth, and they're like, it sounds
okay. We
horrible.
can just quote it because I know exactly like what happened in the clip.
Okay.
For anybody who's listening, is
it this one?
This one. Oh, actually, he does talk about this. He talks about the exact thing. I think this guy is referencing that clip. So we can listen to that if you want to understand that part.
No, either way.
Yeah.
But what he's in the clip that you hear, Felix, on social media that's circulating a lot, he says, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to wonder, is he qualified? That's the clip.
I see.
But I think this guy asked about it right here, so we'll do that one then.
Yeah, so last year you said something about DEI, unqualified black pilots. You see a pilot on a black pilot. Don't you think it was an irresponsible statement suggesting that maybe these pilots aren't qualified or unqualified?
No. But I'll tell you exactly what I said and why I said it.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, the pretext, I went through a whole windup. I said, United Airlines is saying that they want 40% of all their pilots to be people of color or women. We have learned that we have relaxed standards anytime that we try to reach racial quotas. Anytime we reach racial quotas, we relax the standards. Standards for air traffic control, professors, or college admissions. Therefore, when it comes to pilots or surgeons, if I see somebody who is black, as I said on the show, I'm going to hope that person is qualified. That's what I said, which of course is legitimate because they're begging the question, we're not hiring based on merit anymore. We're hiring based on race.
So who says that's legitimate?
So when you see a black pilot,
What?
The fact that he's saying that when you raise that quota that you lower the standard.
He's saying that's what they are doing though. That is he's not lying in what he's saying there. That is essentially what they're doing because if they have a job for opening for a pilot, let's not use 40%. Let's just use like 3.
Yeah.
And you're like one of those needs to be woman of color, and you have 100 applicants, and you're like, here are the top 5, and the top 5 happen to be white males. Well, you got to go all the way down to 10 or 9 to find a woman of color or a black guy, whatever it is. So you're lowering the standard because you would normally take top 3, and instead you're going 1, 2, 9.
But my point is how do you know they're not top 3?
Because they just took the interview. They interviewed all of them. And
the resume.
No, but what I'm saying is that he's saying it like he's seen exactly the lineup of people and saying that this black person is definitely not top 3. That's what I'm saying is like why are we pointing this out when it's like
because if it wasn't there, you wouldn't have to think that. I think that's what he's trying to say. there's no, like, you would have no reason to think that because you know they're only hiring the best. That's at least what I get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have to think it at all.
Exactly. So the best of the best. I don't know, dude. This
But wouldn't
is
the best of the
crazy.
best? Wouldn't the best? I'm not gonna act like I'm well fucking versed on the playbook of DEI, but
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
We're just painting a picture that there's no way that there's a black person in the top 3.
right? But he's saying only because of DEI. If it wasn't there, do you not, like, why would you even think if they're gonna hire the best and that guy's there, you don't have to think that at all.
Yeah.
Right. Without DEI.
And either way, why would you not hire the best?
Because they
the most
changed the way
qualified?
they're hiring.
Yeah, that's what we're saying is before the rule was, or what he's saying is without that rule, they would just hire the best people. And if you have in the top 10, the best out of 3 pilots, 2 of them are black, and they're just saying we're hiring the best, and you see a black pilot, you're like, that guy's the best. But if they do the DEI, his point is when they're implementing that, you don't know because they could have just pulled the guy who's 40th because they had to pull somebody instead of, they always hire the top 3 regardless of the race.
So it's similar to the affirmative action thing, no?
Kind of, right.
Yeah.
It's the idea. Is like, that's what I was saying earlier as my idea is like, do you think that affirmative action is racist? Because of our point, like, we at this point we can expect everybody to be able to have equal opportunity for the most part. Like,
Yeah.
I know there's some other things out there and individuals that ruin the pot for people and they're misogynistic or they're racist, but that's an individual. Generally, the institutions are not like that. So if you were to hire the best 3 pilots, you're right. It could be a woman, an Asian guy, and a black guy. Like, there you go. There's no white people there. But if you have that, what he's saying is you don't know because that's the way that they would go is they would go ahead and hire a variety because of they have to be 40%, right? So that's why it's a tough side to be on. Like, yeah, of course you want to have equal opportunity for everybody, but you don't want to force it. And I think I think that's his side of it.
Okay.
And because also too, like, even like, let's say without it, I mean, we all know that a lot of jobs, you can get jobs just by like favors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just by knowing,
Yeah.
So like maybe there
family or
is
whatever.
somebody who doesn't have the connections to get that reference or whatever, and they're just not gonna get the job. And I mean, I guess it's complicated, you
Right.
know, but that's essentially what he's saying. So, but that clip, the original clip, it sounds like if it's a black guy, I don't think he can fly the plane. That's what the original clip sounded like.
Right. And I don't want to say before you play, I don't want to say I'm against like DEI or anything like
Right.
that. Like, I'm just trying to explain to Chris like what his viewpoint is on like why they argue against the DEI thing.
Right. Yeah, and what I'm trying to say here too with everything is like, I'm not saying I agree with everything he's saying. I'm just trying to, just
understand their side.
Understand their side and show that it's not coming from pure hate.
Yeah.
And racism.
But why? So does he talk about DEI talking about Asians, Mexicans?
Let's play the clip. Let's see if
people?
he goes.
Well, this one he doesn't talk about any races, but
He doesn't.
Wonder,
but he's talking to a black guy.
is that
Yeah.
person
About
there
the
because
black
they
guys
earned
asking
it,
black people.
Yeah.
or because they were placed there? That's what DEI does. It makes you ask questions you otherwise would not ask.
So the airline industry is going to take an unqualified person just based off diversity. and put-
Underqualified, not
or
on.
correction, yeah.
Underqualified.
Unqualified, underqualified, whatever, uncertified, and then put them in a cockpit and risk people's lives?
Those are two different things. Under and un are two different things. Of course, United Airlines will not take someone off the side of the street and put them into a pilot. But in order to reach a 40% goal, they might cut corners. They might accelerate the process in order to reach a goal. We know this through all sorts of DEI examinations and projects over the last 10 years. You have to choose in life. Either excellence or racial quotas will end up being the most important. And both cannot simultaneously exist. It's never happened before.
Okay, so when we talk about DEI, well, who benefits the most? Because black people really don't. It's only like maybe 3 to 4% of black people actually benefit from those programs. So who benefits the most?
I'm not sure your question. I mean, theoretically, if 40% of all pilots end up being black people or
But
people of
that's
color.
not. I actually looked it up. It's only like maybe about 6% of
No,
pilots
their
are black.
goal is 40%, right? That's the point. It's like that's actually a great point. So they wanted to go from 6% to 40%. And so you have to wonder, boy, you go from 6% to 40%, there's going to be a relaxing of standards.
Okay, I guess the way let me see if I can rephrase this. So essentially when you talk about DEI, affirmative action, or anything to that effect.
I'm against all of it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that would be fine. The thing is that now it's actually referenced as a slur against essentially, if you see a black person in a position or, minority or whatever, the assumption is that that person is not qualified when literally, and, you have to be qualified in order to even to get in that position.
Well, so let's take college admissions. So this is a great example. At Harvard, we learned because of new revealed documents that black students were having test scores that were 30 to 35% lower than their white counterparts.
Okay.
And so, therefore, if you saw a black kid at Harvard, it's a fact that they were not having the same test standards as their white counterparts.
Still doesn't matter. The kid has to he's got to get through the classes, do the tests, do all the research.
Well, they actually drop out at a greater rate, too. But the point being is just the idea that they were there, number one, took a spot from an otherwise qualified individual that might be white. And they were not there on the same merits. So what we want is the same rules for everybody.
You're making the assumption that they're not qualified in order to get in. In order to even get there,
it's not
be
the
considered.
assumption. It's the data. So, for example, it's literally at Harvard, you had kids with perfect SAT scores, perfect ACT scores that were white.
So that makes a degree from Harvard worthless then.
Well, you're exactly right. Yeah, actually, Harvard's degree is becoming more worthless because it's more race-based than merit-based. You're exactly right.
Okay, now we talked enough about that. So in the past, you made statements about black privilege. So can you explain that to me and what it is? And
yeah,
and
of course. I mean, it's easier for a black person to get into college than a white person. You get with lower test scores. It's called affirmative action.
Okay, so that's been so college admissions has been affirmative action for college admissions has been struck down.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
I'll give you another example. What percentage of TV commercials have black people versus white people?
I'm not sure about that, but white people are also in commercials.
About 40. Well, this is important. About 40 to 50% of all network TV commercials have a person of color right now. What percentage of America is a person of color?
At least for black people, I know we're about 13%.
Yeah, it's about 13% of the population, nearly half of all the TV commercials.
White people are still in the commercials.
Yes, but underrepresented as proportional, though. The point being, I can give you another example. Easier to get corporate jobs. There are entire departments that are dedicated to just try and expand racial quotas.
You know what would really have fixed this from the beginning had you not had, all the... So why do we have DI in the first place? Because this is the problem that creates. So why was DI necessary in the first place? Or at least the government thought it was necessary in the first place.
Why do I think that it was...
No, why would the government...
You want my well-intentioned explanation or the...
Whatever you got.
I mean, DEI was obviously about trying to destroy the excellence of the country and elevate racial tribal politics.
Okay, so if you don't have the racism, right, and then you'll need that program. So you eradicate the racism, and that eliminates the need for any kind of program.
No, but if you have excellence, you're going to find the best.
That tries to take people and put them in place because they're minorities.
You want the best in everything. So let me just ask a final question, okay? If you were about to board a United Airlines flight from Tallahassee to Atlanta, and you find out the airline pilot says, "Hey, everybody, I'm a pilot. I was hired because of diversity. Let's have a great flight." Would that make you feel good or not so good?
No, but I know he's still got to be qualified in order to fly that aircraft.
But he said, "I was hired because of diversity," and you're like...
You still got to meet the standards in order to get into the cockpit.
Well, again, we know because air traffic controllers and many others, they relax those standards. When you have a surgeon...
You're saying that, but look... You're not. It does not make sense. It's irresponsible not only to say that, but to actually put unqualified people in and risk lives.
But we know that's actually happening every day, and that's why it doesn't make sense. But racial quotas end up mattering more than excellence. When I go in for surgery, I want my surgeon to be the best surgeon, and here's where we can agree.
I would agree with that.
We want a merit-based society, not a race-based society.
I say we should have started that way from the beginning. But at any rate, then the last thing. I don't want to hog the mic, but I'll just say this last thing. So you talked about black fathers, absentee, and all this other stuff and everything else. I actually agree. Okay, more fathers in the home and everything else. That's wonderful stuff. The thing is that you also said, and I'm looking at some of your stuff previous, that there's a system in place that actually incentivizes women to make babies without husbands.
It's a great society.
Take that away.
I agree.
And then that problem essentially goes away.
I agree.
Now, I would ask this question also: what percent of black men do you think are abandoning their homes right now?
Well, we know that it's actually 60 to 70%.
Okay, then you'd actually be wrong because the CDC actually submitted a report in 2023 that says 54% of black men don't even have children.
But that's
54%.
Those are two different numbers, man. I'm talking about those that impregnate.
Okay. Well, most black men. Most black men are actually producing children within the construct of marriage.
I'm talking about just the kids.
So you're saying black men are getting married and then leaving their families?
Not getting married. That's the problem. What I'm saying is the data. I'm saying 2 out of 3 black men impregnate women and don't stay with them.
Sir, I'm telling you that 54% of black men, according to the CDC study 2023 National Health Statistics Reports, literally says that 54% don't even have children.
I know that's a different, complete
maybe
different
this is
stat.
over.
Everyone
This
knows
split
what
might
That
be
means the 46% with kids.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's missing the point there.
My thing is, it's crazy that the DEI thing makes that thought even come into your mind. The thought of when you see a black person, that's the first thing you think. That's a crazy thought that runs through your mind. The first thing you think when you see a black person.
That's a lot of what they think on their side when they're thinking, because think about from their perspective, this like DEI and affirmative action is way more like pushed and more extreme on their side. To them, it's like, I'm not speaking for all the conservatives, but it's like, for them, it's mostly like, hey, this guy, white guy, that's really qualified, could have got the job, but instead they give it to this other guy who like got barely any, whatever scores on SAT, applied to be a pilot, and they're like, oh, you're the only black guy that applied, great, well, you get in, right? So like that's the extremists, and that's where they're kind of bringing that side down. Not saying that Charlie's being extremist in a sense, but when he said that like racial government thing, I was like, ooh, that was a little extreme on that side, right? Because it's like, this guy has a point where it's like, why do you have to assume that they couldn't get in on their own? What he's saying is, every time I see a person, that's what I think about. And I think that's crazy too. I don't think about that at all. I'm like, I'm kind of more with this guy where I'm like, he had to have some kind of qualifications to at least get into the door, right? Like, if Michael goes and applies to be like an electrician, he's not getting in. Like, he's just not going to be able to pull it off. Like, there's just too much that you need to know. So it's like, you can't go to an interview and just be like, well, I just, played with a remote control airplane and here I am. Like, no way. Like, doesn't matter, dude. You need something. And even though they may be more open to those kind of applicants, doesn't mean that they're not going to have any kind of qualifications. So, like, I see what he's saying. Charlie, with that situation, is kind of doing a little bit of like fear mongering, where he's painting the crowd like, well, think about if your kids and your family are on a plane. Don't you want a nice old guy pilot to be on there that's worked for 20 years on me? And it's like, sure, but like, if I see a black guy and an Asian guy, I'm not like, oh God, it's like, who cares?
Yeah,
exactly.
And like, I completely agree with you guys. And I'm not like, he could be completely wrong with everything he's saying. And I'm not here to debate all these political stances. I just like, does that really sound that racist? Like, does he sound like he hates black people because of that?
Not necessarily, no. He definitely doesn't like affirmative action. He doesn't like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, their whole side doesn't, right?
Right.
To me, that's a racist thought to have when you see a black person. That's the first thing you think of, because if somebody sees a brown person, they probably think the same thing. Like, what the fuck? Why? That is racist. That's a racist thought. That's painting. If you see a white person, you're not afraid that they might not be qualified?
No, but you're also not, hold on, Chris, but you're also not going to have that thought, Chris, because affirmative action doesn't affect white people. So a white person ideally would never get a job because they were underqualified, and affirmative action said, hey, you were number 40, we're bumping you up.
It's not helping them.
The white guys always has to be number 1, 2, and 3.
That doesn't make me think any fucking different about a black person.
No, but but when you're on that side, that's majority white, like straight white Catholic males, they are thinking that, because they're thinking, hey, if my kid is top 3 and he's number 3, but that third pilot needs to be black, they're going to pull the kid that's number 9 down there. And the kid that's number 9 is still great. He's fucking top 10. He's amazing. But when you're thinking, hey, my kid's top 3 and now that guy takes my kid's spot, what the fuck? Why does he get that? Oh, just because he's black. And that's why even he said in the video, black people have more opportunity in America or whatever, in what he's saying in getting a job. Like, these are the things that, like, I'm not saying I believe these things. I'm just trying to give you this perspective on like why he's saying that and why he's thinking that, because their side is thinking, shit, that guy was probably number 9 pilot, but he could have been number 3. He could have been a white kid that was number 3. I don't know. And he's not saying that guy's underqualified, but his thought process is, was he hired because of diversity, or was he in the top 3? Was he number 1? Was he number 1 in the pilot class? Or did American Airlines go, hey, we need a 40% quota, let's get this guy in here, even though he's down here at the bottom? That's what they're thinking, and that's what puts fear in his heart that guy could have been the guy that has 25 years of experience, and they hire that guy instead. Does that make sense? That's some white guy.
I see it. I see that. I understand the DEI does not affect it doesn't help white people. I get that.
Right.
but doesn't make me think a racist thought like you're not qualified.
No, yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, of course.
Psycho.
So you think that is inherent? Like you're saying, just having that idea, that thought is straight up
Just
racist.
the thought, that's a racist thought.
I
Because
kind of
you're not
agree.
thinking about any, it doesn't matter. White, dude, because of DEI doesn't mean that somebody didn't, like you said, you could get a job for doing somebody a favor.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
A white person can get a job for doing somebody a favor or knowing somebody.
Yeah.
They could be underqualified.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking, that's not my first thought is this guy's probably underqualified.
Right.
I hope he's qualified to fly this plane. Like, what the fuck?
Like you see
That
some
is-
preppy white guy with wearing like a nice Rolex watch, and
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
daddy.
like,
Your dad got you that job.
yeah, sitting next to daddy's old seat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. And you're right. Like our side doesn't have those thoughts. For the most part, most of us don't have those thoughts. So it is kind of strange, but
We don't need to because, we're in a white fucking
society.
Yeah,
right.
so it's not like we have to even.
Yeah, it's less of
Well, yeah, so you can disagree.
right.
I'm pretty sure I disagree too. Like I said, I don't even know the full details on how they implement DEI and everything. And I know a lot of companies aren't even doing it anymore because of Trump.
Right.
But yeah, disagree. That's fine. We disagree with almost everything this guy talks about. The whole point of this was, does this deserve death?
Of course not.
Does this sound so
course
evil that it deserves death? Does this sound so evil that it deserves to be shit on all over social media after you die and try to tell people that they shouldn't mourn you because you have these different ideas, you have these different beliefs? But yeah, so we will continue this because there's a few other things we still haven't got through all of it. I knew it was going to take a while because I want to talk about that and then the after effects and then just how Trump is treating this, and which is really sad because this guy was a ride or die for Trump. And Trump did not give a fuck.
I haven't seen that reaction. That's
they
crazy.
asked him and he was like, I'm doing good. By the way, we're building a ballroom in the White House.
That's what his answer was?
Literally.
Yeah. Holy.
They were like, how do you feel about the whole thing? How are you holding up? And he's like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Check out the ballroom. We just got started. Like,
It
what?
kind of shows that he just doesn't care. Like he just wants their support and just to have it.
Dude, and they just had a visual for him, and he was golfing instead.
Yeah, and he probably really believed, that Trump was like loved him as a son, and like they talked about it like that.
His wife said that in the
so
the
fucked
video.
up,
Did you
bro.
watch that?
Yeah, so we have a little bit of time. We'll talk. So what we're gonna do, guys. This is part one. We're gonna do part two. There's only a few more clips, but after that, once we do the few more clips in part two, we will talk about the deeper stuff because there's some other weird shit with this assassination. But yeah, we can talk about the wife, and then I just wanted to say like the reaction and like the people are saying like if you don't give a fuck about Charlie Kirk, that's fine. People die every day, right? And we don't care. We're not in mourning. We're not sad about it because there's people we don't know, people we didn't care about. But what I think is kind of gross is that you feel the need you probably were shitting on his name, maybe not as much as you are now, but to shit on his name now that he's dead. And people are saying like, oh, well, you're mourning for him, but you don't mourn for, other things happening in the world. And it's like, well, okay, when people are mourning, it's because it was somebody who had an impact on their life, right? They're posting rest in peace and they're posting all these good times with this person and how much they love this person. It's because they knew them. So this guy, he is on a very, very big platform with a lot of fans, a lot of followers, a lot of people knew him. So of course there's going to be a giant outcry for his death because he impacted those people. Whether we like that or not, he did. And they liked him. They loved him. And so just like let them mourn. Like I don't understand the why it has to be like a competition, like you're not crying about this, but you're crying about him. Well, they knew him. Like if there was I seen people talking because there was a school shooting the same day he got assassinated, and it didn't get as much coverage, right? It's all sad. The school shooting's terrible. They happen all the time now, and it's fucking it's terrible. It's a terrible thing that America deals with. The school shootings. But the only reason it was a big story is because of who he was. Like, it's not like it was some random white guy and like, you know, like if Taylor Swift died the same day as a school shooting, it'd be the same thing would happen on social media. The same thing, it would get drowned out. The school shooting would get drowned out by Taylor Swift's death, and all these people would be crying about it, you know. And then, are you gonna go and say, "You guys are sad that Taylor Swift died? There was a school shooting." Yeah, it's all terrible.
Yeah, I want to say this because I am one of those people, and I know you know that I'm one of those people that was like, "The fuck, you're really sad about this and not that, and this is getting attention and that's not." My thing is, they held a fucking moment of silence for him instead of all the kids. There's on the House floor, all this shit like they're talking about. They're proposing putting up a statue outside the White House or whatever, a monument. All this stuff, like all these things, bro. They don't. Why not? All like we talk about gun violence now. We're talking about gun violence on the right.
Well, no,
or whatever. Like
I don't agree with that either, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, but. So that was my thing is like, bro, like how is this overshadowing all these kids that are fucking dying last week and this week while they were praying, while this happened, all this shit. My thing is like the president didn't give a fuck about the Democrat that got murdered in her house or her and her husband got assassinated. They didn't lower the flags. They didn't do none of that shit. And they asked him about it today. And he's like, what? I was unaware. If the governor asked me to lower the flag, then I would have. Yeah. Bro, but you didn't. Nobody went to that funeral. Dude, they showed the people that went to that shit. It was like few Democrats and this and that. People are afraid to show up for these people. People are afraid to show up for the Democrats because it's going against everything Trump. Dude, people are getting outed from the government. People are getting fired. People are getting fucking laid up. People are leaving because they're twisting your fucking arm to. If you don't bend the knee, that's the thing. It all boils down to that. That's what really, really fucking irks me is that they could give a fuck about all these shootings until it affects them directly. And I get that.
Well, okay,
I get that. But at the same time, this is our country, and it should affect every fucking person that has a kid that fucking understands. Like that's so fucked up.
But you're saying exactly what I'm saying is that it's. The school shootings is terrible, and you're saying it should affect everybody who has kids. And I'm sure the people that have kids, they feel that every time there's a school shooting, right? But the immediate thing for Charlie Kirk is he is a part of that whole thing, and there's millions of people. That's their immediate concern. Like, that is a part of their tribe. That is their community. Somebody in their community died, right? So the people, wherever that school shooting happened, I'm sure they're all talking about it too, because that is their community, right? And I'm not even trying to say, like, we should. I don't even care. Like, I'm not even saying we should have mourned Charlie Kirk over that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, that. I mean, that's just the way. Like, of course they're gonna do all this shit because he's on their side. If it happened on the left,
nobody gave a fuck.
If they wouldn't do the same, they wouldn't have these same rituals or vigils and all this stuff for Charlie if he died during a left administration. They wouldn't. But I mean, it is one of their people. He's not our people.
This is a sad statement to say too, but unfortunately, school shootings are way more common than assassinations. So they're not as, exactly. It's like, oh, a deer got hit in the road. It's like, okay, what else is on the news? You know, that's like where it's at now versus assassinations aren't there yet. They're getting there, but they're not there yet to where they're getting drowned out by the media. So I think that's the problem is like, Michael's right. Like, we're just numb to them. Like, they just happen so often now. It's like, oh, another school shooting. It's like, okay, what? Like I said, it sucks, and that's the way it is, though. Unfortunately,
and a lot of mourning is like proximity based. You know, like how close were you to it? You know, of course, like, we need to spread more awareness of school shootings and do something about it. But sometimes, like, death, sometimes things don't affect people until it's at their doorstep, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Until you're a victim of it. Until, there's people, we all know we shouldn't drink and drive. But none of us are out there, trying to spread awareness on drinking and driving and start like a organization, you know, just whatever. Maybe that's a bad example, but until, you know, your dad dies from a drunk driver or your son dies from a drunk driver. And now your proximity to that, you know, now you're going to, it's going to make you go on a mission. You know what I mean? And I don't know, like it does suck. Like it's all fucked up.
Yeah. It's all,
you know, it's all fucked.
There's no winning there's no winning in this.
It's
fucked up.
I get it. You know, I get it too. I just think that
that's a very American idea. That
but the
until it affects you, you don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. That's not even left or right. Because when you go to other countries, like they care. Like if they see a kid trying to cross the road, they're like, if that was my kid, I would slow down and stop and let this kid cross. And they're very much like that because they treat even strangers as actually in their community versus here. If I don't know you or you don't go to my church or go to my school or friends or whatever, doesn't matter. Like something happens to you, who cares? Because they're not in my immediate circle, right?
Yeah.
It feels like a very Americanized thing. We're very individualist, you know?
Yeah. And that, I mean, and that's also plays to why there's so much shitting on him because it's not our guy.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Just a random guy on the internet.
Yeah, like that plays to it too. But the people that are mourning him, they're actually mourning him.
Yeah.
You know, he was a good person to them. You know, he was a human. You know, and I hope that, you know, we don't make this a normal thing. I hope that you know, if you're on the left, and what people will post like things that, you know, people on the right would maybe mock people on the left. You know, somebody died.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make you want to be like them.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the same way as them? No, you don't. You want to be a better person. Do you want to be a better human or a lesser human? And I think that's just like what it comes down to. And you know, and all of this, like in my heart, it doesn't feel right, you know, to, even if I didn't agree with fucking anything he said.
Yeah.
I constantly made fun of him, you know, like when he's posted things, I would send things like, this guy's retarded. But still, I on any side, doing that is just gross.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I wouldn't say it makes you a bad person. I'm not gonna go that far if you're making fun of it or whatever. I just think that, you know, we need to like take a step back.
Yeah, but you're spreading some of the hate that you are like against.
Yeah.
Because like you do that, and like you were saying, it spurs a cycle that's very never ending. So like,
yeah,
you have to be the stopper. Like you may not agree with them, just let him go in silence.
Yeah, and I see people, his wife, like there's the video where she posted. That's what I wanted to get to. People on the left are like, oh, she looks just as evil as him. I'm like, bro, she's mad. She's fucking angry at the world. Like, how do you expect, if somebody killed my wife in front of the nation and everybody's making, I would be pissed. I would look angry on camera. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, she looks so evil. She's mad. Why would you not be angry at the world? Anybody's angry at the world if somebody gets killed close to them. You know? It's just dark, man. This is all darkness, and you guys are just, we can't, like, we need to step out of that darkness a little bit. Because it's getting crazy. And it could get worse. And we could make it worse. You know? If we continue to act like this should be a thing. And what we were talking about the school shooting things, I hope you think that I'm not like trying to undermine that and think that it's not important or
no, not at all.
Because it's all, yeah.
It is. We are numb to it. I completely agree.
That's what it is. Unfortunately,
we're fucking numb. It's unfortunate that that does it. Even though we're numb, we gotta still talk about it.
Yeah,
because things need to change. Obviously, they don't give a fuck. They're not gonna change it. If this doesn't change anything about guns, nothing will. No, I don't think anything could ever change any.
You're saying him getting assassinated like
yes.
that? Yeah, maybe.
Because it's their guy.
Now it's their guy, yeah.
And so,
but it was Trump and nothing changed. That was the guy.
That's
True. What I was gonna say
Yeah.
to you about the gun control thing, I honestly haven't seen anything that's saying like this is despicable. We need to go down on guns.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody on the right say that. It's mostly just about mourning him and thinking it's the people on the left being violent, which we didn't even get into. So we will talk about that later
Next
about
time,
the motivations and that is a problem and the hate speech. Yeah, part 2. We got to do part 2 because there's so much that's tied into this. But yeah, just I hope if you're listening, I hope you know that just I'm doing this in my heart to like try to ease the tension, try to ease the hate, try to ease the darkness, because we're not going to get anywhere being this hateful towards each other. And I know they're hateful on their side too, but if you want to play the same game, we're not going to get anywhere. Yeah. We're just not. So, yeah, next episode, we'll watch the rest of the clips. We'll talk about the Trump thing. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do the Trump thing really quick just so you can see this. I don't even like, this
The second one, I think.
This shit pisses me off, bro. Let's listen to her.
You were holding up over the last 3.5 days. I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years.
So they didn't even show the beginning. He said, You lost your good friend Charlie Kirk. How are you holding up? I think good, yeah. By the way, we're building a ballroom over there.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
This is the same guy that's trying to fucking start a civil war with that speech that he gave in the Oval Office after the
yeah,
murder.
we gotta talk about
crazy.
Trump's reaction. We gotta talk about JD Vance taking Charlie Kirk's show. We gotta talk about Candace Owens just posted a video which kind of implies that maybe it wasn't even in one of us civilians, some crazy person on the left that killed him. Like Israel's involved.
Oh my god.
It's weird, bro. So we'll talk about that next episode, guys. We will see you next episode. Since we're gonna film one, it'll probably be immediately after. Later, y'all.
Peace.